Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Pittsburg City Commission to order. Would you please stand and join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have Jake Gilchrist here this evening from Via Christi Hospital. Will you please lead us in the invocation?
Thank you. I have two words for everybody. They're Jewish words, but I think we can handle them. I think everybody kind of knows what shalom means. Means peace within, means peace. There's a root word to that really comes first, and you can't have one without the other. The other word is shalem. And shalem just means integrity, and what you're called to do. So, I'm going to ask you to take 5 deep breaths, and when we breathe in, I want you to breathe in moment, and then breathe out. Safety, education, good things, meaning in the community, those things. So, breath in, just fully present. Out, safety in our streets. Breathe in, integrity as a person. Out, growth and development and good education. Breathe in, presence to the Almighty.
Thanks for joining us this evening. We have the proclamation to begin our evening, and I think Lacey is here to receive it. Hi, thanks for joining. If you stand right here, the folks at home can see both of us. I know that's important. We have a really important proclamation this evening. It's something that impacts everybody in our community, and we thank Lacey and the group who have put this together. From the Office of the Mayor, a proclamation, whereas the Congress of the United States passed the Civil Rights Act of 1968, of which the Title 8 declared that the law of the land would now guarantee the rights of equal housing opportunities, and whereas the City of Pittsburgh is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, and today many realty companies and associations support fair housing laws. And whereas the fair housing groups and the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development have over the years received thousands of complaints of alleged illegal housing discrimination and found too many that have proved upon investigation to be violations of the fair housing law. And whereas equal housing opportunity is a condition of life in our city that can and should be achieved. Now, therefore, I, Monica Mernan, Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2015 as Fair Housing Month and express the hope that this year's observance will promote fair housing practices throughout the city. Thank you very much for accepting this. And would you like to explain a little more?
I would. It's been a while since the city has actually had a proclamation for Fair Housing Month. Times are coming along where fair housing has been high on the list, and especially with what we do over in the Community Development Housing Office. And in recognition of Fair Housing Month, the city's Community Development and Housing Department is hosting a free training for fair housing, which is going to cover the Kansas Residential, I have to think about it, Kansas Residential Tenant Landlord Act. It's going to be a free seminar, and it's going to be in a couple of sessions. One is going to be geared towards property owners and landlords, and then the other is going to be geared towards social service agencies, case managers, and then, of course, tenants. So this is going to be happening over at Pittsburg Memorial Auditorium on April 15th. And there's a couple of sessions. It's a free training, like I said, so we encourage anyone interested to learn more about this very important cause to come out and to join this free training. There's a group out of Topeka that we're partnering with, also with one of our main funders, KHRC, Kansas Housing Corporation out of Topeka. They're going to be joining us for this special occasion. And all the advertisements for it and more information are coming out next week. So be looking for more information on when that event is and how you can get involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do over at the department. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Oh, sorry, we'll do public input. Skipping around again tonight. Anybody here this evening for the purpose of providing public input? Dr. Triplett, please join us. Would you mind identifying yourself with your name and address? And if you'll stand right in front of that microphone, the folks at home can hear you. Yep, right there.
Right here. I'm Jim Triplett. I live at 1034 East 520th Avenue, Pittsburg, Kansas. And I'm here this evening representing the Grand Lake Watershed Alliance Foundation. And I want to express my appreciation for you allowing me to give a few minutes. I told Darren I had about 30, and he said, "You'll get 3." So.
We like 3.
I know. He said, "You don't know who the mayor is, do you?" So this is the watershed that we live in. This is the Grand Lake watershed. A lot of people don't know that they're in the Grand Lake watershed. In the Kansas portion, it's the Neosho Basin, and in Missouri, it's Spring River Basin. Elk River goes down into Arkansas and feeds into the Grand Lake proper watershed. I don't know. That seems a little out of whack there.
We're okay on this end.
Well, anyway, I guess you can see it. Of course, we see Pittsburg is in the Spring River watershed on Cow Creek. That's our primary contribution to that area. The Neosho River provides, as it says up here, 57% of the flow. Can you get me some?
Should have a little pointer.
You got one? Here?
No, right there.
Oh, thank you. 57% of the flow down into that area comes out of the Neosho River. 25% comes out of the Spring River area. However, it goes through 90% of the watersheds in Missouri. It collects, goes through the corner of Kansas, so we become responsible for it before it goes into Oklahoma. So actually, we contribute about 82% of the total flow into the Grand Lake system. As you might expect, this is a very complicated system jurisdictionally. We got 4 states, 2 EPA regions, 8 tribes, and the largest Superfund site in North America involved in. So why are we concerned about the watershed? Well, up at the upper end in Marion Reservoir, we had a blue-green algae bloom in 2005. It's become the poster child for blue-green algae, which is a cyanobacteria. It produces microcystin, which is very toxic, and kills a lot of livestock and dogs and makes a lot of people sick. And July 4th of 2011, one of these blooms cropped up on Grand Lake over the 4th of July weekend. Needless to say, it got everyone's attention. We had been working on this process since 2007 as a foundation. And the reason we formed a foundation is because neither federal nor state agencies had the procedures to work across those jurisdictional lines. It was just too complicated. And on the 4th of July, Grand Lake of the Cherokees is the third largest city in the state of Oklahoma. That's how much of and there was hardly a boat out there in July of 2011. Well, we've been upside down. We've been the Grand Lake Watershed Alliance Foundation has been contracted by Grand River Dam Authority, who's very concerned about upstream water issues, and we're running a survey. If you visit our website, Grand Lake Watershed Alliance GWAF, glwaf.org, click on the survey. We're offering a vacation plan up to $1,500 worth of, at Shangri-La and the golf and all of that. Why are we offering that? Because it's long, it's a pain in the rear to take, and you don't get to apply for it unless you finish it. So it's probably, for me it was 30 minutes, but most of the people get done in 20 to 25 minutes. But it's very important that we get people aware of this, and I believe it's got to be done by April 2nd in order to qualify for the survey. So basically that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. It's an opportunity to have your voice heard as a stakeholder in this watershed. It's long because it collects very critical information that will be used in future management of this watershed.
And would this be appropriate for any citizen
Yes.
to take? Okay.
Yes, all you have to do is click on that and start answering the questions.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure Andrew would be happy to visit with you too. I'm giving you a job there, Andrew. Did you see that? But thank you, Dr. Triblett, for sharing.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dr. Joe.
And thanks for all your volunteer work you're doing on that. Consent agenda. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we're going to start again tonight, aren't we? Okay, we'll go Michael first, and then we'll next time. So Patrick and then Michael. Roll call vote.
Gray,
Aye.
Ketterman,
Aye.
Linsell,
Aye.
Murnane,
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thank you. Special presentation, alternate transportation system, Director of Public Works Bill Beasley, Director of Parks and Recreation Kim Vogel, and Assistant Director of Public Works Troy Graham will provide a presentation on an alternate transportation system network. Hi to all of you.
Mayor, Commissioners, we thought this would be a good time to kind of update you where we are with our active transportation. There's several projects going on, planning, bidding, and being done that we'd like to share with you. There's other grants that we're applying for, and we just want to bring you up to date what we're doing and answer any questions you might have. We're going to do this in kind of 3 phases here. We'll talk about different things, and I'm going to start off, and I'm going to kind of show you a map here of our trail systems. The green area is ones that are planned. The red are, these are active. We're doing the engineering, or we're in the grant stage of those. The red is what we hope to do. The purple represents the trails that are already there, and hopefully they can see this on TV. We'll start with the most current project that we have. It's what we call the East-West Connector. It actually connects onto our Watco Trail here at the Trailhead Park. It crosses Broadway here at Larry Garman Avenue. And I might add, at Larry Garman Avenue, as part of this project, we will put a hybrid beacon, which is similar to the traffic control device that is located by the university on Broadway. So it will only be activated when a pedestrian wants to cross the street. They can push that. It will notify the traffic to stop, and then the pedestrian can start. And I might do a little quick education on that thing. It's dormant until the button's pushed. The button's pushed, it blinks red, and then it goes, blinks yellow, then it goes red, solid red, so they can cross. It then starts blinking red, and traffic thinks they can have to stop. When it's blinking red, you can proceed. You just got to be cautious when you proceed. It's just like any red blinking light. You stop, you look, and then you proceed. So hopefully everybody's listening and they'll know, because I see a lot of people stay stopped even when the light's blinking there. Anyhow, we'll continue across Broadway along Larry Garman by the stadium. We go all the way to Michigan Street, and then we go down Michigan Street along between the city street and the right-of-way for Kansas City Southern. We'll have a fence there to keep pedestrians away from the railroad track. We'll take them all the way down to 7th Street, where we'll cross at 7th Street, cross the railroad tracks, and then we'll go along Short Street and into the park. And there'll be a bridge here in the park that we put in to allow for bicycles to cross. And then at this point, we hope to pick up on the street bike lanes. We're looking at doing striping on street bike lanes here, and then a sidewalk that will take them to the trail there at Water Street, the 8-foot trail that goes all the way out to the high school. So that will connect basically the west end of town to the east end of town, and that's why we call it our east-west connector. The other thing that we're currently actively involved with is this trail here. I might add, this one bids on June the 17th. This is a KDOT project, so it'll actually be bid through KDOT. We hope some of the contractors in here will bid on that. I know the contractor for the 20th and Broadway intends to bid on that project, so we'll keep him in town a little longer if he gets it. So, the other one we're looking at is actually starting at Adams Street, Pittsco, and going down Rouse Street and connecting up to the trail, which is already existing in the purple, which is at the university at the Technology Center. This will just be basically we're applying through Sunflower, so this will be a wide sidewalk, a 6-foot wide sidewalk. We're asking Sunflower for $40,000, and we have private donation for the remaining $110,000 to put this in. As soon as we hear from this grant, which will be on April 17th, we're ready to go out for bids for that. We want to make sure the funding's in place before we go out for bids, but the plans are prepared, and we have some easements to acquire, but for the most part, it's on city right-of-way, so there's not a big deal on that one. And then the red area here, one of the things that we wanted to get is, one, we want to connect this trail from Pittsco back to 4th Street, back to the trail that we have there already. So this is something we're going to go after next, to try to get that connected so we have a safe route from the university all the way to the trail. But the other thing we would like to do is to have a north-south connector. We're looking at either Elm Street, Locust Street, Joplin Street, and looking to see if we can do either an on-street bike routes or widen the sidewalk on one of those streets and try to get a trail. So this is still pretty much in the planning stage, but we definitely need to connect from the north to the south. Let's bring this down a little bit. The other piece of the trail system is down here, which is the South Rouse Trail. You have approved the engineering on that with Trans System. They are currently doing survey work, gathering information, doing the design. The field check on those is due the June the 19th. The office check, and this again is a KDOT project, so we have to submit these plans to KDOT. The office check goes to KDOT on September 18th. Final plans should be finished shortly after the 1st of next year, and bid letting on that is looking at like June the 15th of next year. So if the plans are quicker and if we can get it in, get KDOT's approval, we could move that up, but that's kind of their schedule working within KDOT's schedule. Again, that connects up with all the trails around the university, the trails on Centennial, Research Road, and so that provides a network of trails down to this end here. Any questions about some of the projects we have going? If not, I'll turn it over to one of the others. Okay, thank you.
That next slide.
This map is very busy, so we apologize, and it is still a work in progress. I'll talk to you a little bit about the PEDNet organization. PEDNet is a coalition out of Columbia, Missouri, and they started out a lot like Live Well Crawford County did, doing education, advocacy, policy change for really in the city of Columbia. And then they outreached into consulting work. And with that, some members of Live Well Crawford County actually went to Columbia and looked at their community and met with PEDNet, and eventually ended up coming to us and asking us if we would be interested in Live Well hiring PEDNet to do a master plan for bicycle and pedestrians in the city of Pittsburgh. And so we took them up on that. It was a nearly $40,000 expense for Live Well Crawford County. So we're very excited that when this is completed, we'll have a very nice master plan for bicycles and pedestrians in our community. This is, like I said, it's pretty hard to read. This is the trails map that they have presented to us currently. There are quite a few changes that we've presented on it, but their definition of a trail is a little different than what we've talked about previously. They consider trails as anything that's not adjacent to a roadway. So this map right now is, they have a few in here, but mainly they were focused on trails that weren't adjacent to the roadway. So they were looking at how we could, let's see if I can get this off line and Tammy over there, how we could
Can I
connect.
ask you a question? You said adjacent to a roadway. Does that mean where a sidewalk is, or do you?
Right now, this current plan isn't, they will do another plan, and then it'll be a lot like what Bill showed you. They'll work on that too, and when you overlay the two, we should have a complete system. So they haven't made it to our arterial streets yet, and that's what they'll do. But right now, this plan is just, they have a few of ours mixed in, but the trails that we already have existing, but really they were focused on the outlying connections. Let's see if I can, this is the way they started out with trying to figure out how we could get out to Wilderness Park. They were definitely looking at, connecting, oh, I'm sorry, this is moving all around, connecting the parks, schools, things like that. But they wanted to see if we could get around where the creek runs and come around through. And actually this whole loop, it runs both sides of the city and connects at the bottom. You can see it run over here and down through. It'll actually run through where we may be changing land with Pitt State and have development down there, all in the creek area that runs through here. Down towards Centennial, and then you'll see it again on the outskirts. This is kind of a futuristic plan of what we could create, and that's a lot of what we talked to them about. A lot of this is land that we don't have yet, or we may need to talk to some business owners. They looked a lot at the Watco Trail and extending it on out, some things that we would also have to discuss. And in here it shows the part of what is Kansas City Southern Trail out near Schlanger Park, which we know some of that land has went back to property owners, but they went ahead and kept it right now on a future plan just so people could see what could happen if we could develop the connectivity, because definitely that is the safest way to get kids out to Meadowlark if we could utilize that land. So that's what they're working on right now. They're, like I said, with this map, this was the first map that they presented to us, and we've already presented them with several changes to make on it, first of which was to get all these roads out of it and clean it up so we could present it in a way that it made more sense. And then second was, to take out, right now they've got every city property, which is what's in green, and it gets a little confusing because we really don't need to see every property, maybe just, parks and things like that, but not everything needs to be in there. So we've asked them to clean it up a little bit and make a few changes to it. And then, like I said, they will come back with, once they get this the way we like it, they will come back with the arterial roads. Will be a lot like what Bill presented. They'll give us their suggestions that we can then mix into what Bill presented for our future plans and make sure it all matches. They have been down 3 times already to walk the city and to walk these trails, and they'll be down again. They have done one public forum meeting at Memorial Auditorium and met with community members who showed up to the meeting and talked about what they'd like to see and kind of drew on maps, and they took that back with them, and that's how they got started. They will do that again. Once they get to both plans complete, they'll come back for more input from the community on what they've developed, and then they'll have a final plan for us, a master plan for us, should be in September, and they will come and present to the commission at that time.
Nice partnership with Livewell.
Yes, oh, fantastic. And with that, Livewell too is also looking at offering the same to Girard and hopefully county-wide, so we can actually have some connectivity with Girard and Cherokee, and that's why they've looked at the trail, you know, extending the Waco Trail, extending maybe all the way out to Cherokee, but they'll look at that as part of a county-wide plan.
Great. Thanks.
Well, they made me go last, so I don't know if that's good or bad. And I didn't get any cool maps to use. So I'm going to talk for just a little bit about the Safe Routes to School. We applied for a Safe Routes to School application and received it in late 2013. We did not go for the second phase in 2014 just because of the things we had going on with the two trails and the grants we were working on. The Safe Routes is a grant that's administered through KDOT. It was part of the same federal funding, that transportation enhancement, where we received the funding for the South Rouse Trail. So when we received the first part of that, which was a $15,000 grant for basically planning of the second phase. So as part of that, we've been meeting with staff and also with the external groups, including the schools and you know, some of the people locally we work with. And what we're doing right now is we're working on the part of the grant. As part of the Safe Routes, they push the 5 E's, which is engineering, education, enforcement, encouragement, and evaluation. So right now, we're basically working on those parts of the grant. Our engineering is basically our in-house engineering staff working on that. Education, we're working with some of the local, businesses, like Roger Lomshek. He will be doing some educational with the schools and actually getting the kids together. The grant can be used for grades K through 8, and what they want to do is they want to encourage kids to hike and bike and walk and bike to school versus riding in a car and try to get out there and be a little more active. So as part of that process over the next month, like I said, Roger Lomshek will be doing on-school training with the kids. As part of that, we're going to be providing basically kind of and I'll show you here. They did give me one slide, I guess. We're going to be working with the schools to basically provide them with a way that they can actually, the grades 3rd through 5th, they can actually win a bicycle. So we're going to go through all the local grade schools, grade 3 through 5. We'll be giving away 1 bicycle per grade as part of this grant. And the way we're doing that is the kids, as they walk and bike to school, they can put their name in for a chance to win a bicycle. Now, some of these kids may not have the opportunity to walk to school, so what we're going to be doing then is over the next month, we're going to have basically set up walking school buses, where some city staff and also a lot of volunteers throughout the community will actually have drop-off points where the kids can actually walk a few blocks to school, and then that way they'll have a fair chance to win a bicycle as well. So, like I said, there's a lot of things we've been working with this. We've been working with the school district, with Destry Brown. They've been real receptive to it, real eager to work with us. So, but like I said, we received Phase 1 funding, and we will apply for Phase 2 funding in May. And as part of that, we have to get all these things wrapped up and together, before that time. So once we do that, then we will look at Phase 2 funding of that. Currently, we're looking at, we did some walk audits down around George Nettle schools, and we're currently looking at connecting George Nettles with some of the trails in that area, and we also are looking at West Side. There's some areas where we can connect West Side to our Watco Trail, and then we're also looking around the middle school to where we can maybe improve the sidewalks and connect the middle school down to our existing Watco Trail and then our new east-west connector. So that's kind of the areas we're looking at. Over the next month, we'll be meeting with the PTAs from the schools to get their input as well, from the parents, and get their input, see what they're seeing, and see what changes we can make. Make sure I didn't miss anything. But like I said, we will get everything wrapped up and submitted by May, and we will go for that second round of funding. So we'll hopefully we can get that. We didn't talk about it much beforehand, but just as kind of a follow-up, our active transportation board that you guys approved in the last quarter of 2014, we've been meeting regularly. They meet once a month, the first Tuesday of the month at noon. Like I said, we've had real good showing on that. They're gathering and providing us with lots of input. We've spent some time presenting, how we build sidewalks, what we do with how we do trails, what we're looking at. They've been attending the Skype calls with PedNet as well to provide their input. So it's been a real positive, thing to the city to have that active transportation board. So, anything I missed, guys? So,
Roy, what was the amount on the funding for the safe route?
the planning round was 15,000, and then the next round would be 200,000.
200.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions for any of the presenters? That was a really great update. Thank you very much. I know we've sometimes just hear parts and pieces, so it's nice to hear it all in one place, and really shows that you guys are working to make sure everybody in town has great access. So thank you for doing that, and thanks for bringing us up to speed. Next item, item B, network improvement. Assistant City Manager Jay Byers will provide an update on recent improvements to the city's network. Hi, Jay.
Hello. Good evening, Commissioner, Mayor. Actually, I'm very glad to be up here. This is one of those things where you can talk about something good about how technology's gone. Sometimes that isn't always the case. As part of the public safety sales tax passage, we agreed to purchase a certain amount of public safety technology. Looking at our network core infrastructure, we recognized that our network core infrastructure could not support the technologies we needed to move forward with the public safety technologies that we knew we needed and wanted to go forward with. So we agreed that part of that public safety technology funding will go toward improving our network core infrastructure, right? And that is essentially completed now. I'd say it's about 90% completed now. Much ahead of schedule. We expected it to take two more months to complete, and under budget at this point, right? So it's been one of those good projects, all right? For a number of reasons. One is the consultant we had was very competent. We were able to handpick that consultant off of a state contract. We work with them all the time. It's AOS, Alexander Open Systems. We work with them on a regular basis. Also, that our staff, as excited as they were, the IT staff, about getting this new network core in, they made sure that before the consultants came and visited, and there were a number of them paraded through this process, everything was ready for them so that the consultants all hit the ground running when they were there. And I got nothing but very positive feedback from all of our consultants along the way about our IT staff and how prepared they were when they did visit. It is important to make sure that when you have an expensive consultant on site that they are doing what they need to do and they're not bogged down with things that are relatively minor things. About what we're trying to accomplish with that, we were increasing our computing power, we're increasing our storage dramatically, we're increasing our network speed, and also our security of our overall network. And we've done all of those things, and all of those things are currently in place. Just to kind of give you kind of a general magnitude of what we're talking about here. We've essentially increased our computing power by about 10 times, right? We have a whole entire virtual server environment, which allows us to create servers before we install software on them in a matter of, minutes, all right, as opposed to days when it took to put servers together. An example of what that computing power has meant is the New World systems, the public safety technology system that we're currently implementing. It requires actually 12 servers to be installed on it, and that would have taken us probably a good month to get all of those things ready and prepared, and we were able to do that in less than a week. All right, and that, by the way, that system is installed on our servers right now. So all installed. We're going to do the client installs, the installs that the people will use on their desks next week. So that system is coming along very well as well, and it's largely due to the fact that this network improvement went so well. So all of that is kind of pushing forward quicker the implementation of these other systems. So that's the computing power. Storage. We actually had probably a little over a terabyte of storage, which sounds like a lot, but it's not at all what we need. We currently have two types of storage. We have a near storage, which is like the storage that you would use on an everyday basis when you're using a computer. We have about 50 terabytes of that. All right, so we went from a little over 1 to 50 just in that quick storage. And we have another 72 terabytes of what we call archival or file storage. So, we went from 1 terabyte to 120 terabytes. So that's a great improvement. And now a lot of that is to store some of the video files, and a lot of the files of larger size that we're finding are part of everyday operations, but in particular public safety operations. So we got the storage. Our network speeds, we had about 100 megabit network, which was state-of-the-art 10 years ago, and now we have a minimum of 10 gigabytes of throughput in our backplane, and actually in between the storage and the actual servers is 40 gigabytes. So it's a substantial improvement in the network speeds as well. And we're going to slowly build out the rest of the network, but the core infrastructure is now capable of managing all of the files and the videos and things that we need to move around through the network much more effectively, and there's some things we simply couldn't have done before that we can do now. So that's kind of how the network speed. As far as security, we've installed 2 state-of-the-art security appliances. These are specific machines that are included as part of your network that manage the security, they're pre-programmed, and you can manage them. Those add the whole layer of security that we did not have before. Right? We also are able through the software, some security software that we have available. Now we encrypt everything on the network, so even if you get into the network, it's not like you can get around and do things to it. So it's that's another layer of security. We've also added a technology called NetMotion that actually provides for mobile technologies, which we're increasingly using, of course, and that's part of the plan that we have in place. And that manages that. It's a system that dramatically improves how we monitor what's going on out on our field work, all right, as well as the security that's around those as well. And you have to have that if you're going to start pushing your applications out to the field, because there's a lot of scary stuff that can happen to your network if your network machine, if your tablets and your field equipment aren't protected. So we're adding that as well. So that, those are the key elements that we're working on. Another aspect of it that we included in the purchase was a more substantial backup application that more systematically take the files that we have and store them so we can recover them if we lose them for any reason. We probably had, probably gigabytes of data, 100 gigabytes of data that we were storing now, and now we're storing we can store everything that we use, all the data, all the files, everything, and that's multiple terabytes of information that goes into that archival storage, and it has an easy process for recovering it. So if anybody loses a file, or if we need to, if there's some disaster for something, we can do that. All of the systems we put in place have redundancy. They're failovers and all of those pieces. So we really are in a position now to move forward with the applications. Now we've continued to purchase the new applications. And the next step here is to start migrating the applications. Well, because it's gone so quickly and we were so successful, we were able to already start migrating the old applications to the new system, and we're probably about halfway through that now. Right? We were expecting that to last through December, and we'll be done before the summer hits with the migration of the application. So it's it's nice when you can say that things are going really well. Right? And in this case, it's gone really well, and I waited for a while to talk about it because what happens when you say things are going really well and something ends up happening. And there won't be without hiccups. We've migrated several applications, and most of them have gone well. Migrated one recently that had a little bit of hiccups to it, but because the way the system is, because of our monitoring tools, we're able to identify it, we're able to get in and make the changes we need much more easily. Something that would take weeks now takes hours. So that's the kind of thing. And I think when it comes right down to it, when we look at the network improvements, as essential as it is, of course, to running any organization, right? We're able now to manage our network, as powerful as it is, right? And I hope with the management tools that we now have, with the same staff that we have, we're not going to have to, as our use of technology expands, we're able to minimize the amount of staff that we're going to have that we would normally require because of the tools that we put in place here. So it is a relatively expensive proposition to do this, but to be able to have the applications you need and to be able to manage them without additional staff and other expenses in place. We're much more efficient now, we're much more effective now, and we're also much more powerful in terms of what we can do. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. and let you ask any questions about it, because it was a substantial a purchase that you approved, and I wanted you to know what was going on. So,
Great
any
information.
questions?
Anybody have any questions for Jay? I want to know if both of you are sleeping better regarding the storage issue from
Oh.
last time we spoke.
Absolutely.
Yes, good. Okay, good.
Jeff-
It's all in one place and it's safe. It's a huge piece of infrastructure that needed a lot of attention, and thanks for organizing it and getting it done and putting up with all the nuts and bolts of it. We'll go ahead and move on, and I think you're going to stay with us under consider the following license and service agreement. Tyler Technologies, staff is requesting authorization to enter into an agreement with Tyler Technologies for the purchase of court case management and document management software to be used by the Pittsburgh Police Department. And we still have Jay.
Yes, it's still, we're still talking about public safety sales tax funds again. When we originally went out for bid for a police records management dispatch system, we also asked them to include a court system in their response, but we did reserve the right to pick those pieces individually, all right? We ended up choosing a New World Systems, which for the records management and the dispatch system, but we liked Tyler's court system better, all right? So we actually, worked with those two vendors, and they know each other well, right? And they do integrate with each other. And we chose Tyler's court system. We already use a Tyler product in code for our financial management system, and we felt that it would be a better fit for us. We put off this actual contract because we're going to put the court system at the end of the implementation cycle. We have to get the records management system up and the dispatch system up, obviously, when comfortable with that, and then we're going to apply the court system to that afterwards. In fact, we probably won't even be. It'll be toward the end of the year, probably, before we get to this, maybe even the first of next year. But we wanted to do it now so we could schedule the Tyler Court staff appropriately. They asked if we could do it a little bit earlier so that they could schedule their technical staff for when we would need them. So we're coming to you now for that reason, to get set our schedules up for that. Some quick costs there. The overall contract that's in front of you is $56,210. $31,000 of that is for the software. $25,000 for the implementation. I think there's an online payment module that you can pay your tickets online that's included as part of this. It's essentially criminal court case management, probation management. There's a number of modules in the system. Content and document management for these, that's a huge issue for this sort of thing. You also have docket management, so that it helps the prosecutors and the judges. If we can just get them to use the computers on a regular basis, we'd be much more efficient. It's got one system that manages all of this. Usually it's a single screen that the people who are using it look at. They don't have to switch around a lot. It integrates with the city's financial system, so that when we collect money, it goes right into the Encode system directly. It's much more efficient for that, because right now we do a lot of manual stuff for that. It allows you to set up payment plans if somebody needs to pay a fine through payments. Manages your probation, manages the docket, manages warrants, tracks cases, does state reporting. Does all of the pieces that we were looking for when we were looking for a court management system. And anyway, this is if you have any questions about it, I'll be glad to answer.
As I'm listening to you and as I'm reading, I have to admit I don't know hardly anything about our court system and how it connects with the police department. I know it's there. We've talked a lot as we have implemented the sales tax in explaining to folks where dollars go. Do you think it would be appropriate, or do any of the other commissioners have any concerns if we asked to, maybe during a work session or something, to learn a little more about the municipal court system? Some of the things you were listing, I feel like I should know what that is more. So would anybody have any concerns with learning more about that
That'd be a good
system?
idea.
Especially, if we're spending $56,000, it'd probably be good to know the daily functions and such.
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Just sometime, I don't mean to postpone this, I'm just noticing my lack of knowledge. Any questions for Jay?
And this is for the police department or for the court?
It's for the municipal court,
Municipal
but it will feed data to the records management.
And
so
then
that
the cost on the next page is for what then?
On which
sorry.
page?
Which page are you looking at, John?
52, is that for the software?
Yeah, it's a little, the contract is a bit confusing because it tells you the total cost and then it breaks down the individual cost.
Okay.
So there's a cost, the software cost is $31,000, right? And then the service for implementing it with getting their consultants here and helping us is about
So the
$25,000.
total is 56. then.
The total is 56, yeah,
okay.
sorry about that. It is a bit confusing in the contract.
On all these software pieces that you've been talking about, are we still working hand in hand with the county to talk through and coordinate with them? Because I know that we were talking early on when the sales tax was passed that they're also going to have to look at new software. And, you know, are they coordinate? I mean, are we going to have systems that are consistent and can talk, or are they looking at something completely different? Do you have an update on any of that? I know it's maybe off topic.
I don't want to speak for them, of course, but we are certainly in conversations with them, and the indication that they've given us is that they would like to buy seats of our system. It's very difficult for them to afford the kind of cost that this represents. However, we could afford to just incrementally increase our cost and then pass that on to them, and they could easily afford that. And the answer to your question is absolutely, they're very much interested in it. And the issue becomes, for them to buy pieces, we have to be able to connect to them. And we have to be able to connect to them fast, all right, through fiber, all right? And so we've had to kind of take the negotiations back to discussions with people who have fiber between Pittsburg and Girard, all right? And talk to them about getting connectivity there. And we've had those conversations. We have a connection point. We have a plan for connecting to the county, which essentially makes us a wide network between here and Girard, okay? There are also other jurisdictions who've expressed interest in the same sort of agreement, all right? So we could potentially, and I don't want to get any hopes up or anything here, but we could potentially be a regional public safety system, all right? Because we have also worked out the connectivity to these other jurisdictions as well with some fiber providers, all right? So I certainly hope next year that we are connected to at least the county and hopefully with at least 2 other jurisdictions.
Jay, is it safe to say if we don't connect to those other jurisdictions, it won't be anything on our side, it won't lack of a system, it's just, you know, there's a lot of other things to it, but there's nothing that would hold us
There's
back.
the effort
On the
being
system we
obviously put
purchased, it will
forth.
do
No,
that.
you answered my question. I wasn't concerned about that as much as I was just because I know that our folks are paying, you know, for all these costs 2-3 times over because they're paying for costs at Pitt State for certain dispatching, you know, some software and, you know, infrastructure improvements through the state. They're funding that through our municipality. They're funding it through the county level. And if everybody's purchasing different things and we're spending the money 2-3 times over, it doesn't make sense for things that can't even communicate. So you've answered my question. I just wanted to, I just was wanting to make sure that we're still having that communication and that we're still trying to coordinate with them to make sure that we're doing it smart.
They have consistently expressed their interest, and we're pursuing it.
Okay, thank you.
More questions for Jay? Is there a motion to approve?
I moved.
Second.
Michael and then John, thank you very much. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thanks, Jay, very much. Next item that we have is item B, wastewater treatment plant legacy control system upgrade. Staff is requesting governing body approval of a change order number 7, reflecting an increase of $132,125, making a new contract construction amount of $323,921 for the wastewater treatment plant legacy control system upgrade project, subject to KDH&E approval. Matt Bacon, hello.
Good evening. Real quick, just kind of run through. We engaged a contractor by the name of Greenway Electric to update our SCADA system, and I think we had most of those in place whenever you all took the tour a while back of the wastewater treatment plant. This change order is to bring on 4 lift stations and do minor modification to the southeast lift station. The east 4th lift station on the other side of the bypass, the lift station on the other side of the overpass here, the lift station out at the airport, and then the lift station down at the mall. And this this is a logic control. The same upgrades that we do to the wastewater treatment plant to monitor flow rates and functionality at that plant is the same thing that we're asking to do at the lift stations, to monitor those from the wastewater treatment plant so they can see what's going on. We're going to concurrently do that through a wireless technology, but basically, your cell phone connectivity, in the hopes that whenever other connectivities become available, we'll link those all up as well. Monitoring flow rates, pump controls, check valve status and alarms and wet wells. That's the general functionality. Some of this is also to control our I&I and know where those inflows and infiltrations are coming from in different locations of the town. It's all real time. I should have went to a screenshot, but a little bit better. That's our SCADA screen, seeing the pumps, monitoring the flows. This is all data that we'll be able to watch from the wastewater treatment plant. Or actually, we can do it from our house now with the technology we have now, which makes it really convenient at 2 o'clock in the morning. Just the overall project cost, parts, pieces, and putting the programming in to make this happen. So, are there any questions we can answer for you tonight?
Sorry, not clear. So we're asking,
I'm asking for approval of the change order so that
but we
Greenway,
requested the change order. We asked for them
Greenway
to
to
do
provide
more
a
work.
price to bring the lift stations on board.
Okay. And
And this money again is coming from where?
The revolving loan fund.
sorry, I didn't put all that together. Any other questions for Matt? Clarification?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate the explanation. Item C, disposition of bids. Bids were received on Tuesday, March 24th, 2015 for the provision of asphaltic concrete materials for the 2015 City Sales Tax Street Program and the Crawford County Engineering Office, consisting of an estimated combined total of 17,775 tons of asphaltic concrete and surface mix. Staff will provide a verbal recommendation for award of the bid. Hi, Bill.
Hello. We actually put this on tonight because the next commission meeting is 3 weeks away, and hopefully if it's approved, we can start getting started with our street projects, and we can start purchasing asphalt. What we found that actually purchasing asphalt from other companies is cost efficient because, one, they can produce it at a much quicker rate than we can. Because they have a larger volume purchase of oil and rock and aggregate, they get a better price than we do. Plus, it frees up our plant operators that we can use for truck drivers and makes a more efficient operation. We did that last year and it worked out great, so we're wanting to do that this year. That saves our plant for other things we may need. Again, it's not a high volume plant, and so that makes us more efficient when we're laying streets. We talked with the county this year, and they also purchase asphalt. We said, well, let's go together and we'll go out for bids for what we think we're going to use this year, and then hopefully together, just like volume purchase for asphalt or whatever, we'll get a better price. So they were happy about that. We opened bids today. And one of the things that we did, we want to be able to pick the asphalt up ourselves. And to do that, we wanted to include our cost to drive to wherever we would have to pick that up. And so when we prepared the plans and specifications, what we told them was that we want their price for the different mixes that we would use, but that we were going to use 30 cents a ton per mile from where that is from 4th and the bypass, to figure how long it would take us to get our trucks there and back. And so that's what we've done. I've handed out a sheet that shows the bids. Actually, Tri-State was low bid out of just out of Baxter. When you look at the low bids, but when you add in the travel time, and I put a little note at the bottom there, when you add the travel time to the Heckard plant, it's only 5 miles out of town. We were figured at 30 cents a ton, and you add that to the other ones, what it represents is an additional $19 a ton to go to Blevins, and actually $21 a ton for us to drive over and come back to go to Tri-State. So what we're recommending is that you approve the purchase of asphalt from Hecker Construction Company, and the county will be taking a similar action at their Friday's meeting to approve it with Hecker also.
Any questions for Bill? Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks. We had Chuck and John. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, thanks, Bill. All right, non-agenda reports and requests. I believe
Just
city
one,
manager
please.
has one.
If you will, somebody from the police department.
Hi, Mindy.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. At last meeting, you asked us to come back and talk about the relationship the Animal Control Department has with the Humane Society. So with me tonight, I have Lieutenant Tim Tompkins, who oversees the day-to-day operations of Animal Control. He's going to throw up a short PowerPoint and talk about what we've done to enhance our relationship with the Humane Society. And also Erica, back here, the director of the Humane Society is here as well. And I'll just turn it over to you, Tim.
Thanks for the follow-up.
Mayor, Commissioners, thanks for your time. The rules were made very clear to me on presentations: be brief and be done. So that's my mission here. We just want to talk a little bit about animal control, some of the changes that we've done over the past few years and where we're at now. For a long time, our animal control structure stayed the same. It was one full-time position, and then we had one 15 to 20-hour part-time position when budgets allowed. It was not a consistent position. So you can imagine having one full-time enforcement officer for a 20,000 population city. It was a challenge. It created a lot of challenge on our service demands, running traps and calls and dog at large and all those things. And so we really weren't paying attention to finding homes for the dogs that came into our shelter and some of those other issues. Pretty much enforcement was the rule of the day. And just like any other city department, we struggled with budget issues and personnel. It is a challenge. So in 2012, Chief sat down with city manager, and we came up with a solution to restructure Animal Control Division. We maintained our one full-time enforcement position, and then we added a shelter operations manager position. This is a full-time position that's at the shelter all day long, that coordinates with other partnerships, with other folks, to take care of the well-being of the animals. It just made us better at what we do. It allowed us to focus on finding homes, focusing on adoptions, shelters, and transferring. And that partnership has continued to grow, and it's enhanced, and the main driver behind it has been the Humane Society. SEK Humane Society has been a long partner of ours, but because of our challenges and things, we weren't able to get animals to them as fast as we would have liked. Now they've opened up a lot of new doors for us, to the tune of our partnership grew pretty much overnight. Their volunteers came in and created a Facebook page for our shelter, and they come take pictures of dogs, post them up there. Here are dogs available for adoption at the shelter. It allowed one owner to get their dog back. We had a dog that got loose in Cherokee County, got picked up, ended up in Pittsburgh. They went out and saw the Facebook page. We reunited an owner and a dog, thanks to the efforts of the Humane Society folks. So through this network, we really started approaching other rescue organizations, and they started calling us. They say, hey, we see on your Facebook page you've got dogs. We've got folks looking for dogs. Let's partner up. Happy Tails is one establishment over in Golden City, Missouri area. Golden Paws, which is the Joplin arm of the Humane Society over there. The Allen County Animal Rescue Fund, Allen County, Kansas, so we're stretching that into there. And probably one of the coolest organizations we got hooked up with is Pilots and Paws. How convenient that we have an animal shelter right next to our municipal airport. So some cost savings. Where does the rubber meet the road with this? In 2014, our shelter transferred 50 dogs directly to the Humane Society and another 59 dogs to other outlying rescue operations, the Happy Tails groups and the different organizations. Basically, if we can't transfer a dog, the vet services and things that are required of us would have cost us close to $3,000, $2,575. That doesn't count the staff time it takes to take care of these dogs, the food, all those issues that came along. Our cost probably would have been well over $5,000. So just this partnership alone saved us $5,000. And you can imagine animal control is only 2 people. So it's a small budget. $5,000 is huge to us. Cat issues, obviously, there are folks that like cats and there are folks that don't like cats. But we get into those issues. The Humane Society went out on our behalf and their behalf, created this grant application process, and they got a grant approved through, help me, PetSmart, to trap, spay, neuter, release cats. So it's to kind of deplete those huge cat colonies and all those things that we get calls and complaints about. Basically, SEK Humane Society runs that with their volunteers. We identify issues through our animal control folks. We notify them. Their volunteers come out, do the trap, paw prints on the heartland, spay and neuter. We release back, and so we're kind of starting to work on those cat colonies and the populations in our communities. And again, we work together to address exotic animal complaints. We worked together on a cruelty investigation here not too long ago. It was the Sheriff's Department, Humane Society folks, and our folks together. So we're really branching out and changing a lot of what we do. I'm sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Talked about the investigation that we did. Our advertisement is grown, not only externally but internally. We've hooked up with IT staff, and we put pictures of dogs on cable channel 6 as well. So folks here in town, if you're missing a dog, go out to that cable channel, and if you see it, let us know, obviously. We're really making a difference in the lives of people and the lives of the animals that we come across. So let me brag. This is the good part of my presentation. This is bragging rights. This is Paws and Pilots. These are 2 of our dogs that ended up on the far side of Arkansas, I believe, Oklahoma. But these pilots volunteer their time. They fly in, they load up these dogs, and they take them to homes. They also buy fuel at our airport. So got a little side benefit there. This is Grand Island, Nebraska. Ladies and gentlemen, these are 4 dogs that came to our shelter, and these are their homes in Grand Island, Nebraska. This is the power of SEK Humane Society and what they brought to our animal control. This is Princess. She was a pit mix, and so she had to go outside the city. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, saw her, and somebody drove down from Sioux Falls, about a 6-hour drive, picked her up. She went back to their shelter facility, and about a month later she was adopted. So she's living someplace outside Sioux Falls right now. These are 2 dogs on the way to Minnesota. They drove all the way down here from Minnesota, loaded these 2 dogs up, went back to a rescue in Minnesota, and they've been adopted. And finally, this is Gypsy. Gypsy's an older dog, and she was adopted by a Topeka police officer who saw us on Facebook, came down, picked her up, and so you can tell this is just one example of 109 dogs that we transferred. So the partnership, I guess, at the end of the day, animal control, we're doing things we've never been able to do before. Our folks work hard. They're very dedicated to the pets. They're pet owners themselves. They understand those issues. And Humane Society, SEK Humane Society is playing a big part in our expansion. We appreciate that partnership. So that's a little bit about animal control. Quick and painless. I appreciate the time and any questions you'd like to answer. Erica, if you want to talk about the chili feed and the fundraising event that just occurred.
Yeah, we had our annual chili dinner this year, last Sunday, and we raised $3,741, and that was
Say the number again?
$3,741, and that was after our expenses. That's our total net profit. And like Tim mentioned, we do work with the City of Pittsburgh Animal Control on a daily basis, and Sharon and Jason do a great job. Like, we couldn't be happier with the work that they do and how they help us. It's a really good relationship, and I think it works both ways, so we're really happy with. And, you know, I honestly wish there was no need for our organization in our community, but unfortunately, there are irresponsible people and irresponsible pet owners, so we are there. And we work hard, and we try to do our best to find these animals homes, and you know, we work with the City of Pittsburgh Animal Control, and we try to do our best, and we appreciate all your support.
Thanks for sharing all that. That was great information. I didn't know a lot of that. So thank you for bringing us up to speed and bringing a really important topic to a lot of people's attention. So thanks for the update. Thanks. Any other non-agenda items?
Still have?
Oh, yeah, Kim.
I take it back.
I apologize, I meant to tell you about this today. I just wanted to let you all know that we had 5 great advertising sponsors that provided us with a new scoreboard at JC Ballpark. And so I want to recognize those sponsors really quick. Miller's MPICS, Watco, Bill Phelan Law Office, the Tyler Jeck Foundation, and Commerce Bank. And I'd also like to thank Brian Sutton. He really went out and helped us with this project. We're hoping to get, now that it actually got up, we weren't real sure with the weather, and if the weather will cooperate and PHS gets to have their home opener Thursday, be the first time that it'll be in use. So we'd like to get everybody out to thank them for their sponsorship in the new scoreboard. So
Absolutely
just wanted
appreciate their
to let everybody know.
generosity. Thanks for pulling all
Thank
that
you.
together. Good, thank you. Any other non-agenda items?
Anybody?
No?
Going once, going twice.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.